What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your boy Jason. In today's lesson, we are learning the basics of Kumite. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So guys, first things first, you're gonna wanna learn how to get into a proper stance. Now keep in mind, everyone's stance is gonna be a little different because the nature of the karate point style stance is dynamic. You never just wanna be stationary and static with your heels planted on the floor. You always wanna have some dynamic tension, loose and light. So the way I like to get into my stance is by first putting one leg in front of the other. Now this is often referred to as a bladed position, that my feet are almost directly in line. So a few points from here, the bladed position, I want to point my toes slightly in the direction of my opponent. I don't want to point them directly at my opponent, nor do I want to keep my feet directly to the side, keeping my leg back and midsection exposed. So again, I'm going to put one leg in front, one leg behind, slightly angle my feet towards my opponent, as well as my hands, my guard up, rear hand by chest or chin, front hand pointed towards my opponent. Okay, always keep your knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed, and focus intently on your opponent. You know now to be in a bladed position, feet slightly pointing towards your opponent, guard up, eyes forward, knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed. Now that you guys have that down, let's move on to the second most important aspect of Kumite, which is your footwork. For the sake of today's video, there are tons of variations of footwork, but I'm going to show you the two most essential. So let's start with the first one, which is the Kumite bounce. To do the Kumite bounce, again, you're going to want to start from your ready position, your guard, your stance. So knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed. And from here, all you're doing is you're gonna stay on your toes, okay? Keep some dynamic tension, and what this does, this slight bouncing does, it builds momentum and creates potential energy. Just like if you have a ball, a bouncy ball, and you were to throw it on the floor, the ground sends an opposite reaction of the same force in the opposite way. So when I push on the ground, it's pushing back on me. So in the case of my opponent attacking, I might be bouncing and then he comes forward, I react down and the ground is gonna propel me to my opponent if I were to counter. So this is a Kumite bounce. I'm gonna be in my guard ready position, heels slightly off the ground, knees slightly bent, and I'm just dropping my center of gravity right to the sweet spot where my breath settles, right here. You don't wanna drop further like that, nor do you want to jump. Okay, it's not jumping. You're creating dynamic and potential energy to react. So this is the Kumite bounce. Here, you practice that a few times. Know where your sweet spot is, where your knees fall naturally. Knees, hips, and shoulders fall naturally. Again, Kumite bounce. Okay. Slightly off the floor, shoulders relaxed, dropping my gravity, building potential and dynamic energy. All right, so now that you guys have the Kumite bounce down, we're gonna move on to the second most essential and commonly used form of footwork, which is shifting. So to begin shifting from your stance, you're gonna first get into your guard, like so, like we covered, knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed, toes slightly pointing to my opponent, eyes facing my opponent. So from here, the shift is basically one foot's gonna move and the other foot is gonna trail. So if I move my front foot, my back leg trails. Okay, I move my back leg and my front leg trails. The key to make this shifting and not tilting or tapping is to remain at the same hip level the whole time so that you shift your body as a whole rather than just move your legs. Okay, so from my stance, you can add the bounce to it. And when I want to shift forward, what I'm going to do is load up on my back leg to create that energy. I'm going to push off and follow. You see that here? when you're doing this, breathing is key. Okay, if you're holding your breath, everything is gonna be extremely awkward and difficult for your body. So you wanna make it natural as much as possible. So again, I'm in my stance. Let my breath sink to my dantian, and then so an important detail is also you want to keep your upper body hard to telegraph. So when I move forward, I don't want to make a huge motion with my head, shoulders, or arms. Okay, you want to disguise everything. Let your hips, your legs, and your feet do the talking. So if I'm here, my upper body remains silent. Hey, ready for the kill. So now that you guys have your stance down, now that you guys have your footwork down, a general sense of what to do, let's move on to the basic techniques. So first technique we're gonna cover is Kizami Zuki, which is jab, okay? This is a technique involving your front hand and is often considered the most important because this is your measuring stick. This is your jab hand here. And this is what's gonna help you gauge the distance from you to your opponent. Okay, this will often set the tone to how you approach sparring, how you approach your counters and your offense. Generally, your jab and the distance from your jab to your opponent. Okay, if your opponent is within your jab range, he or she might be too close. But if he or she is further away, then you generally are safer. So working on the jab, you're going to get into your Kamae, which is your fighting stance. So from this position, we're gonna just apply the Kumite bounce. And from here, what I'm going to do is gonna move my front hand in a straight line towards my opponent's chin or neck. And then at the same time, I'm gonna move my front foot at the same time, dropping my center. From here, retract. Okay, if I steal the distance forward, I have to return to my position here. Okay, the hallmark of point style karate is getting in, getting out. Hit and not get hit, okay? From here, slowly, right here, and I like to keep my hand by my chin, my rear hand by my chin, in case I need to block a kick, parry, or even parry down for a kick or punch to my midsection. From here, I'm moving. So you can do this stationary in place, bring it forward, bring it back, or you can shift with it. You can shift with it. Practice going back a few times. From stationary. So you guys can do the stationary, in and out, or you can shift with it. Hey! Going back. Hey! So just like any major striking style, boxing, kickboxing, Muay Thai, you have the one, which we call in Japanese Kizami Zuki, and you have the two, which is your cross. In Japanese karate, we call Gyaku Zuki. Okay, so these are the first two we're gonna learn. We just covered the jab. Now let's move on to your Gyaku Zuki, or your cross. So the way the karate right hand or cross is done is again using your whole body, moving it together and shifting into your opponent and retracting back. As opposed to boxing where a lot of the times you're in a squared up stance and then you throw it from the pocket. Muay Thai 2, you're here, same thing. Okay, let's see if you guys can see the difference between those. Here, okay, it's more of a sharpshooter, sniper, okay? So let's get into how to actually do this. To do Gyaku Zuki, same motion with your front leg, which is stepping out as Kizami Zuki. But this time, you're going to follow through with your hip, and then for Kumite's sake, you're gonna lift your heel off the ground, drive the balls of your feet in the floor, follow through to your hand. This is a whole kinetic chain. Starts from the floor to the knee, hip, shoulder, elbow, fist, and retract. So doing it slowly, in the bounce, shifting, combination, and here. Okay, step, rotate, follow through, right here. Okay. So, few tips for maximal power. So when you deliver the strike, you also hike your shoulder just a little bit. You don't want to bring it up to your chin, but then you really want to push here as well. You don't want to leave your fist back here. See this? I'm not engaging my lat nor my shoulder. So you follow through your target. So let's do that a few times. So you guys are looking great. You got your stance down. You got a basic form of footwork, your guard, you know jab, Kizami Zuki. Now you know cross Gyaku Zuki. Awesome, let's move on. So next thing you're gonna learn how to do, and I often pair these 3 Kumite techniques together because again, they are the most essential and commonly used. If you look at the percentage of knockouts in truly effective techniques of landing in competition, it's always straight 1, 2, now 3, which is Mawashi Geri with your lead leg. The reason why I like to do a Mawashi Geri, which is a roundhouse kick with my lead leg instead of my rear, because it is harder to telegraph, meaning that if I were to throw my right leg, it's a big motion. Okay, my opponent, if he or she is advanced, they might be able to time that and counter. But if I were to throw my lead leg, it's just straight from the pocket, which is why I like it. It's snappy, deceptive, and it's disguised. It is hard to telegraph. So the way we do this, again, everything starts from your Kamae, your guard, basic form of footwork. Now there's generally 4 steps to your kick. First is the chamber. Now I like to kick with my shin and instep, so I keep my toes pointed down. Okay, generally keep your upper body upright. You don't want to lean. See what that does? It brings you off balance. So from here, okay, come on, bounce, shift. When you feel the time is right, up. Okay, from here, you go out, extend, either hitting with the shin or instep, back to chamber, and down to Kamae. Put that all together. Okay, put that all together. My opponent's coming in. I'm going forward. Okay, they don't see it coming. Just as fast as your jab. Just as fast as your Gyaku Zuki. Ready? 1, 2, as opposed to, again, all the way around and kicking with my rear leg. It can be used in some situations, but the most common and I feel effective is the front leg, at least for basics. So now that you guys have the tools, you have your jab, your cross Gyaku Zuki, and now you have your lead leg Mawashi Geri. Also your stance, guard, and footwork. Those are all the essential tools. Now let's use them to build something by learning the basic and essential combinations. So first combination is going to involve your two hands, often referred to as the 1-2. We call it Kizami Zuki, Gyaku Zuki. Now this is karate style because you're blitzing in and you're coming in from a distance. The way I like to do it is you move your hands and your feet in conjunction at the same time. So slowly I do my Kizami Zuki. Now from here, I'm going to disguise and hide my distance by stepping with my back leg. From here, this what's going to follow, Gyaku Zuki. Okay, as opposed to just stepping in here, I leave my back foot in the rear. Okay, but if I want to cover distance, you can see I stop here for the first way. Second way, I end up here. And that's if my opponent is backing up and I want to come in like a sharpshooter. My opponent's backing up right here. Same thing. My opponent's backing up. Okay, rather than just see, I'm leaving my rear leg in the back. The 1-2 Kizami Zuki, Gyaku Zuki is performed moving in conjunction at the same time with your whole body, shifting into your opponent and following through like an arrow. Right here. So from here, just using the hands, if you wanted to cover even more distance, we're going to learn what's called the Kumite Blitz. And as the word already sounds, is you're going to come in from a distance, charge, blitz in, swarm. So to do it, it's going to involve 3 striking techniques, all with your hands. First one is Kizami Zuki. From here, you're not going to really step with your back leg, but you're going to shift a little bit. Okay, if you can see my back leg, 1, 2. Okay, I'm not leaving the body on the floor. From here, 1, 2. And this is where you blitz in and steal the most distance. Is I take a giant step with my rear leg. If you see one more time, here, 1, 2. Keep my momentum going forward. Don't stay in one place. Don't stop when you do the second punch. So if I'm here at 1, 2, and then 3, that's already way too much time for your opponent to react. Okay, if you want to catch them, cover the maximum distance slowly. So it's 3 strikes, 2 steps. Front leg and back leg. But you're finishing off with your lead hand. So if this is my lead hand, finish off with that. 1, 2, 3. Now the strikes, they can be used as parries. What I mean is you can block the hand, block the hand. Now that both your opponent's hands are down, because you parried them, 1, 2, this hand is coming over the top for the chin, for the neck, for the temple. So let's put this together. I'm here. I see my opponent. I'm creeping up on them. They move back. And I catch them. Come in again. Okay. Here. And always retract to guard. Reset your distance. So you guys have a couple combinations now. You have your 1, 2, you have your blitz. Now we're gonna learn the 1, 2, 3, which is jab, Gyaku Zuki, and the Mawashi Geri. When you guys do the 1, 2, 3, it can be done defensively, where your opponent is gonna come in, say they stop and block this cross, and they wanna come in and attack, and back up, and hit the Mawashi Geri out of defense, going back. But if you want to put the pressure on, 1, 2, and 3, you can push the pressure forward as well. But the general sense is to attack with your 3 weapons: jab, cross, and Mawashi. All right, so to do this, it's very simple. It's combining those 3 techniques together, but again, everything moves in conjunction, all together. So I jab, I step with my rear leg to cover distance, Gyaku Zuki. I step again from here, always keeping one hand in front. I don't want to ever keep my hands close to my body, or both hands just close to my body. Always have one hand in reach. From this position, I load up on my hip and extend Mawashi Geri up to the face. Okay, so if I want to bring the offense to my opponent, here, 1, 2, 3, bam. Okay, slowly go here. I'm in my stance. Knees slightly bent, shoulders relaxed. 1, 2, 3, ay! All right. Once you get a rhythm, once your technique is naturally falling into place, you're gonna put some speed on it. Go. Ay! So those were done offensively. Now let's do it defensively. I'm gonna come in, and back up. So you guys see that? So I'm here, so my opponent blocked, and now they want to counter coming in, but I catch them with a kick. Okay? Offensively, putting the pressure on. Hey! Hey! If I want to do this technique 1, 2, 3 out of defense, I pull back on the kick. I'm here. Pull back on the kick and regain my distance. One more time. Move. See your partner. So guys, you got the 1, the Kizami Zuki, your jab, your blitz, your 3. That's the lead roundhouse. You know how to put them together. Now let's take it a step further by adding a feint. Now a feint, it can be taught as a beginning technique, but it is often utilized in very advanced and high-level competition because it elicits a reaction out of your opponent without you having to commit to a full technique. What you are merely doing is feinting, faking a technique. So the feint I like to use most often is a faked touch or jab to my opponent's leg or body. For 2 reasons. Okay, it doesn't compromise my position, it just naturally falls into place. Second reason, it draws their attention low to my hand. So that means I can come over the top with the blitz, or boom, up top with the kick as well. So using this in a drill, what we're going to do, we're going to feint. They react, they want to come in, I'm going to catch them with the lead roundhouse kick, and as I step down, I'm going to blitz in, 2, bam, right here. Okay, this is a simple drill you guys can incorporate to learn how to feint and build a rhythm with your kumite. So from Kamae, feint, boom, jab, bam. A couple times now. Feint, bam, boom, boom, ay! Feint, coming in hot, ay! And also when you feint, the trickery can be taken to the next level by you even looking down to the floor. But don't stick your head out too much to leave your chin exposed. Everything has to be done deliberately, technically. So I'm here, Kamae, bam, boom, boom, ay! Walk your opponent down a little bit, fake it out, bounce, shift, bing, boom, ay! And back to Kamae. So that's the end of this video, guys. If you made it to the end, very proud of all of you. I hope you guys learned something valuable in today's basic kumite lesson. And as always, if you liked it, please smash the like button for me. It really helps me and the YouTube algorithm. And if you're not already, go ahead and please subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on all my future content. Until next time, guys, this is your boy Jason signing in, signing out. Thank you guys very much.